What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Bro Schmo, just in case you did not know. So we're going over the tight end class, and I gotta admit, it's not a spectacular tight end class, but there are some names that you need to know about because your team's probably gonna get one of these guys. I have 17 tight ends with draftable grades. I'm gonna give you my top 15 here today, but go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoy the video. It really helps the video a ton from what I hear. And yeah, man, I got a lot of content coming to the channel. If you already checked out my videos yesterday, you already know I got a ton of stuff coming up for this lead up to the draft. So be sure you're here for that. I got a watch party for the NFL draft that's going to be here on YouTube day 1. Day 2 and 3, it's probably going to be YouTube too. So let's go ahead. Let's dive in. We're going to start with Sean McKeon? I believe that's how you say it, McKeon. But our boy here, right? He'll be quality depth at tight end, but I don't see him as a difference maker in any offense. He's a quality blocker. He's probably going to sneak into, I don't want to say sneak into, but he's going to be like a late D3 pick. In my opinion, like I said, quality depth piece. And then we got Jake Breland. He by far had his best season of his collegiate career, and he only played half of it. The guy showed good ball skills. He could be limited as a playmaker, but I do think he has some after the catch ability, or at least I think that will translate to the NFL. But he is coming off a season-ending leg injury, so just something you just want to know about, something you want to be aware of. And almost there. Bam! There we go. Now I got my list up. Jared Pickney. Man, I love this guy. I thought he was gonna. I thought he should have came out in the 2019 season. He didn't. I thought he was gonna be. I thought he was gonna be one of the top tight ends in this class. I loved his size and his speed, but this season, man, those cons in his game just seemed amplified. The speed wasn't there. I mean, honestly, despite his size, 6'4", 255, he shows an unwillingness to be a blocker. But you can develop that in his game, given his physical upside. Also, despite the size, he isn't that physical in the middle of the field. Is something you kind of want from your tight ends. He also struggles to separate. Like I said, I like his size. The speed didn't look good at the combine. Kind of just proved the 2019 season may not have been just a fluke. So that's what I'm afraid of, and that's why I have him as a 6th rounder. Steven Sullivan, another guy I'm a little higher on as a project, but former wide receiver, moved to tight end, he was weighing 254 at the time. The guy's 6'5". I expected him to run in the 4.5s, but he ran a 4.66, which I don't want to say it really hurt his stock, but it did make me drop him down around. I think I originally had him in the 4th, but virtually he has no production. On top of that, very little sample size, only 300 snaps last season. So it's hard seeing him go early on day 3, but I'm just projecting here. I still like the athleticism, even though it isn't as good as I thought it was initially. I mean, he has a ridiculous wingspan at 85 inches. He can still be a mismatch nightmare if schemed properly. And then Albert Okwuegbunam, Albert O, there's a reason. A lot of people are like loving him because of his 40 time, but there's a reason he only did the 40 and didn't participate in any of the other drills. While he's got an explosive speed, straight line speed, he isn't that shifty. He struggles to create separation. He isn't a good run blocker, but I mean, again, the speed does have some upside, so I don't mind it. I don't mind it one bit. And then Devin Asi. Probably messed that up. It's a cool last name. But he poses some interesting athleticism for a guy that's 6'3", 257. I mean, this guy, he ran a 4.71 40, but he doesn't have the same large sample size, being only a redshirt sophomore with 1 year starting experience. But if anything, he's going to be a very dependable blocker. So you can kind of get behind potential upside here. And then Dalton Keene, I don't want to say he came out of nowhere, but that combine really boosted his stock for me. He wasn't really utilized at Virginia Tech, but he did manage last year to reel in 5 touchdowns. The athleticism kind of suggests he can be a playmaker to the next level. So again, there is a lot to like there. And then Josiah Gara, man, oh, here's another guy that I love a lot. He's a high effort guy with a bit of athleticism, but I kind of see him being best used not as a traditional tight end, but more like Jusac, the fullback from San Fran. Again, he's a sneaky good route runner, and playing him in the backfield and not as an inline blocker, I think will be an ideal situation and will benefit him the most. On to Thaddeus Moss, man. Whoo-wee, Thaddeus Moss, man. Isn't very explosive. Doesn't exactly have jets, given his lineage, Randy Moss. But he does break tackles. He somehow manages to pull off these big gains. He's probably the best inline blocker of this class. He can immediately be a starting. Immediately be a contributor as a tight end too. But yeah, just somehow manages these big games. I mean, he's like a train. It takes him a minute to get up to full speed, but. And then CJ O'Grady, man. He's among the top tight ends in this class, if not for those off-field concerns. He was eventually kicked off of the team in Arkansas. He's got solid speed and some fine ball skills. He's very good after the catch as well. And it sounds like he interviewed well, despite the off-field concerns at the combine. Reports or everything I've read, he interviewed pretty well, but that's still a big red flag, being kicked off your team and such. Teams could probably get him real late, but I'd be willing to take an early shot on day 3. On to the top 5. We got Bryson Hopkins out of Purdue. This guy, he's the greatest vertical threat of any tight end in this class. And he's got at least the greatest sample size when doing that compared to the others. He doesn't offer really anything as a blocker, but his ability to create mismatches is going to be very valued. He does have a problem with drops though, so that's why I got him here at 5. Harrison Bryant, he was my tight end number 1 for a little bit after the Senior Bowl. He improved as a blocker in 2019, but I don't think now looking on it, I don't think he'll be able to hold up at the NFL level. But he might be. That's why I still got him in the 3rd round. He's a solid athlete, very good after the catch ability. He's a downfield threat, not on the level of Hopkins, but he's good in his own right, and he's a very capable route runner. And then these next 3, I got rated very close to one another. I can't really tell who's my actual tight end number 1. Hunter Bryant, he's kind of in the same mold as a Gerald Everett or a Evan Ingram. He's better after the catch than others. He's definitely a more receiver than a traditional tight end, but that's very valuable nowadays. It's kind of what teams are looking for in their tight ends now. They're trying to replicate that Kittle and Kelsey type of tight ends. He's got great body control, and he attacks the football in air. He's kind of, like I said, he's flirting with Troutman and Kmet as the top tight ends here. And then we got Troutman. I got him at number 2. Like I said, these guys might be interchangeable, the top 3. And I mean, I really wanted to put him at number 1 because I think he's more of a complete tight end than Kmet. I mean, Kmet is the better blocker, but I mean, Troutman by far is the better route runner. He's better after the catch ability, far and away. He had 70 receptions last season for 916 yards, 14 touchdowns. Granted, he was playing at Dayton, but still, he looked very good at the Senior Bowl, so he proved he could play with the big boys. He didn't test as well as Kmet, but he tested well, in his own right. And I mean, honestly, all these 3 guys I think are all solid starters. So let's talk about Kmet, because he runs a full route tree. He has very reliable hands. He's a very good blocker, but I don't know if he's going to be anything but average as a pass catcher. He tested well, but you don't really see that on the field. Still, he's probably one of the most complete tight ends up there with Troutman in a very lackluster tight end draft class. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. It's always much appreciated, much obliged. And as always, till next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.